Can you soar after losing everything? It's a question most of us hope we'll never have to answer, quite honestly. But if you've lived long enough, which you likely have, you've probably experienced a season that required you to begin again. Maybe it was the loss of a job, the end of a marriage, a health diagnosis, the death of someone you loved, a financial setback, or perhaps now retirement. One of the reasons I started SOAR, starting over after retirement, is because retirement reminds us of something we've often forgotten. This isn't the first time we've had to start over. By the time we reach retirement age and midlife, we've already navigated seasons that have tested our faith, our resilience, and our beliefs about who we are. We've learned to adapt. We've learned to persevere. We've learned that while life may change, because life be life, right? We are capable of changing with it. That's why one of the core beliefs behind the Flourish framework is this: we aren't starting over from scratch, we're starting over from wisdom. Every challenge we've faced has given us something to carry into the next chapter: greater perspective, deeper faith, hard earned resilience, and the confidence that we can overcome anything. Today's guest is a powerful reminder of that truth. There was a time when Terrence Howard was a homeless, imagine that, right? A homeless father of six. Many people would have looked at his circumstances and assumed his best days were behind him. Instead, he chose not to let one chapter define the rest of his story. Today, he is a leadership strategist, international ministry founder, business coach, AI educator, and the author of, wait for it, 15 books. But more importantly, he is someone who understands that lasting transformation begins on the inside, long before anyone sees it on the outside. If you have ever wondered whether one difficult season has the power to define the rest of your life, I hope today's conversation reminds you, okay? If you're listening closely, I hope that it reminds you of a time in your life, right? A difficult season that you've been through. Because flourishing isn't about having a perfect story. None of us has a perfect story. It's about believing that with God's help, there is still another chapter to write. Please join me in welcoming Terrence. Thank
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, God bless you, Dr. Lisa. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of your program. And I'm glad you got my name right the second time.
Yes, I realized that. Oh my gosh. And we just had this whole conversation about names before we started recording this. Oh my gosh. These are the blooper reels. This is real.
Right.
Hilarious.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we're going to get into it. You are over 50, so you are in this beautiful chapter of midlife.
Yeah.
As I am, and
Mhm.
as the viewers and listeners are as well. So, talk a little bit about you losing everything. Oh my gosh, homeless with six children. You had what I like to call in life a perfect storm. A perfect storm, a series of things that happened somewhat on the heels of another that caused you to be in a position where you had a major relaunch, a major
Right.
rewriting of your next chapter. Let's get into that for us,
Absolutely.
please.
Alrighty, absolutely. And again, thank you for that. This is a topic that's really dear and near and dear to my heart, because I do understand what it means to lose everything. To just to start, I wanna give a little bit of background on my upbringing. I was raised in the '80s, and it was tough. We were that poor, that kind of PO where we came before the OR, that kind of poor, and and it was there were just some things in life that you live differently, understanding that survival is a part of your makeup, and it has to be a part of who you are. And so from there, I was had married my wife back in 2000, excuse me, back in 1999, 2003. We had She was very successful in her business, in her work as a manager of hotels, sales manager. I was successful as a high tech recruiter down in Austin, and then we all of a sudden lost everything. I lost my job. She was pregnant with our youngest child, and so she couldn't work, and so we lost a car, lost our second car, and then we lost the house that we had just built from the ground up. And
Wow.
so it was tough. It was a tough time. But during that season is where my life changed, my mindset changed. I began to build a business while we were homeless. So, I mean, I'm talking going to my friend's house using their internet, going to their using the internet, and I actually built a business in two ministries during that time period.
Now, I think this is important. I want to pause here. You built a business and two ministries while homeless.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think that's important because on the outside, your circumstances would appear as though you had nothing, right? Who in the world thinks of starting a business and two ministries? That takes, I mean, how did you get that? Was there a belief system, an idea that you had to let go of in order to make that kind of a move, that kind of a decision?
A lot I had to let go of. I had to let go of the image of what um, uh, a man should be, so to speak. Because I'm a follower of Christ without a doubt. Been ministering since I was 18. But we have to understand that life is going to test us, and it's going to test our resolve, going to test our faith, and whether or not we have faith enough to step out on the water and to keep moving forward, following his voice. And that's what I felt. I felt that at that time I was trusting God to show me what I needed to do. And so I had to let go of the naysayers. And I think we all have some of those in our life. People who say, quote scripture wrong by saying, "Oh, man, don't work, man, don't eat. It's better, worse than the infidel. You can't provide for your family." All this kind of stuff. Quoting it wrong, quoting it out of context, because the most important thing that the Word of God tells us is to walk by faith and not by sight. So we have to understand that your faith plays a tremendous part in seeing your next stage of life come to pass. And that's what it took. It took me to step into a place where faith became my shield, became the thing that I needed to buffet everything, every voice, every operation of this world that would make me feel like I couldn't, because that's the key.
So faith was your filter.
Yes.
Mm, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. So if it was contrary to your faith, if it was contrary to who you know God created you to be, with the creativity and the ingenuity, then you were like, nope, I've got to shut this down.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's a lot of things in this world, a lot of voices that are gonna tell you who you are and try to put you in your place, try to establish your value. And it took me discovering that my value was in Him. My value and everything that I'm going to be is because of what He placed in me, and not because of any shut doors.
So you didn't take shut doors as necessarily, because some closed doors are designed because that's not the way we're supposed to go.
Hmm.
Other shut doors are designed for us to build our perseverance muscles, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
our resilient muscle.
Hmm.
That is incredible. And so after you started, while homeless, starting your business in two ministries, what happened next? What did Where did you all land afterward?
So we uh, after that, again, we received what we believe again was instructions from God, and in doing that, um, within a year, I mean, literally, and that's a whole story in itself. And I think I may have put it in my new book, but within a year, we had the keys to another house, and yeah, and so there was it was, and I believe that that time period uh, was needed to establish a baseline of operation. And I would definitely want to encourage your audience on that, because allow the struggle to establish the baseline, to help you establish that foundation that you can launch the rest of your life off of. Know that the struggle is coming. Know we don't know how it's going to come, but allow the struggle to be the thing that you build off of. I often say it like this: make sure that you see a struggle as a stepping stone and not a stumbling block.
I love that. I'm glad that you mentioned your book. I want to bring that up for everyone. As I mentioned in your intro, the author of 15 books, and your most recent book that you're currently on tour with is No More Chains: The Plight of the Talented. I'm super excited about this. Now, was this book birthed out of this experience that you're sharing with us, or did that come, the book came later? And just so everybody is aware, to learn about where the book tour is and the next stop and where you can follow and purchase, please visit www.wisdomworks, that's worx.org, in order to find out where Mr. Townsend will be with his book tour. Yes, so talk to us
Yeah.
about when did the book come into play? This one.
Okay, so this particular book is really a culmination of a lot of things. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that that happen in not just my life, but in the life of some of the folks around me. Things really started out as a dream, and
Mm.
I even opened the book talking about the and what the dream was is the two ladies were sitting doing their job, but there was an invisible small chain that kept them stationary. And so we talk about this topic of the plight of the talent is dealing with people who have so much invested in them through their time, through their talent, through them studying, through their experience in life. These things are often locked away inside of people. And the reason for that is because society doesn't recognize the value of those things. And it talks us out of understanding the treasure that lies within us. And so we have to be a people that step out of that place of identity crisis. Groups fighting for identity, saying all of these things about this is who I am. Again, we are dealing with the generalize what God has invested inside of them. And even this older generation, when it comes to, well, I'm older generation now. When it comes to the opportunity to step into something new, we pull back because environment looks different than it looked when we were coming up. We used to have to ask for permission. This generation now is not asking for permission. They are doing. You look at TikTok, you look at any of those, they're doing it.
Which is something we can learn. And it
Yes.
sounds like that you even did yourself without the job, starting a business and two ministries while homeless. Because
Hmm.
had you asked for permission, right? Had you been stuck
Right.
into an old way of thinking systemically, right? Who does that? Who does that? Being homeless, right? Nobody, that's
Hmm.
not the norm. But when
Hmm.
we're writing our next chapter, we have
Hmm.
to get out of what we think is normal and realizing who we are, the plight of the talented, how much has been invested in us over the
Yes.
years, right? That we have and value that we have, even at this stage of our journey. I know you shared with me also that even after starting the business and being able to rebuild and getting keys to your new home, but then the pandemic came,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you all were impacted.
Yeah, and so the pandemic came. So by this time, this is some years later. With the business I had shut it down, but it became the largest Christian hip hop booking agency in the world. And so that was what that was called, True Praise Productions. We're on Wikipedia if y'all need to look at it. But the and then we started a new business. I got into financial services, so I opened up a insurance firm and really worked that as best I could. The issue with the pandemic is that we had like 30 agents going into the pandemic. Post pandemic, it was me and my wife. That was it. And everybody had walked off, everybody had left, and we couldn't adjust fast enough to help people to continue to make money. And so understandably, I'm not fretting that, but uh, the crisis at the moment was heavy. And so I'm jumped on with a job and was working at a call center and that kind of thing. And then a few years after the pandemic, the struggle in my life, one of the biggest struggles that I've ever had in my life came. And I was diagnosed with severe anxiety. I couldn't work, couldn't do anything. I was, in fact, my wife would tell you that, hey, I'm a guy that I don't quit. So when she saw me, I couldn't get out the bed. She knew that it was something major. And so, um, speaking to, and this will definitely talk to your audience and talk to many folks that are in our generation. Speaking to my counselor, the biggest thing that she said and stated is that um, all of the experiences, the setbacks, the frustration, even the times that you had to crawl out of the ditch, everything that you've gone through, all the trauma is a part and has been captured in every cell in your body. And so your body does not want and to deal with the things that are causing you struggle in your life. So your body, which is which was completely against what I wanted to see happen in my mind. In my head, I'm waking up every morning 18-year-old strong in all of this, but my body was like, we aren't going through this anymore. You have to stop. You have to slow down. You have to settle down. And so my body was in contradiction with my desires, and so, and I know many people are dealing with that same struggle. You don't understand why you don't feel or have not necessarily the insight, but have the enthusiasm and the things that you need to move forward. Even when challenges come, we shrink back because your body is is experiencing that along with you, and so it's not
Mm.
necessarily fear, but that um, that that trauma impact. Uh,
And
go
for some people, it may be fear.
Yeah.
That is the thing about us getting to this stage of life and
Hmm.
why I want to discuss it, because we're not talking about it. We're
Yeah. Yeah.
not talking about that, because what I'm hearing you say, if
Mhm.
and correct me if I'm wrong, is that here we are in our 50s and beyond. We have had a number of experiences over our decades of being on this planet,
Absolutely.
and at a cellular level,
Yes.
at a soul level,
Mhm.
those experiences have made an imprint on our soul,
That's it.
on our spirit, in our body. And this is an opportunity for those of you all who are watching and listening. This is a beautiful, if the Lord allows us to live this long,
Mm.
this is a beautiful opportunity and season of life for us to work through
Yeah.
those traumas, work through those issues at a cellular level,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
a soul level, so that we can enjoy this next chapter.
Yeah.
Because you had to basically, I'm confident, if your counselor was worth their weight, basically reimagine what you wanted this next chapter of your life to look like, feel like, live like.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the thing about it, is that I my capacity to dream wasn't
Mm,
hindered. you know it wasn't hindered. It was but it had to be redirected through a filter to for things that I could do, for areas where I could move. And even with that, I still had to have the same drive, the same audacity, even to step into those areas without the frustration or the fear of not being able to win. I still
mm.
have a winner's mentality, without a doubt. In fact, that was one of the things I told the counselor. I say, I feel like I'm all of this is fake, because I'm still a winner in here. I'm still
Ooh.
winning all day, and so
I
uh,
want you to hang out there for a little while.
okay, okay, okay.
Because here's the thing, because when we get to it, is the experience for you different? Because I know men and women have different experiences, but for as a woman, growing up, I looked at 50 as old, right?
Mhm.
And it looked like 50 life was over. I in my experience didn't see people in their 50s and beyond starting anything new,
Right.
right? They were like, I got the flag, I made it here, it's a wrap, right? And they're riding it out. So I do this because I want to encourage those of us who, we're not grabbing that flag. We're not finished. So
Yeah.
please hang out here a little bit, because you're saying, I'm hearing you say you're a winner. So come on, this can't be the end of my story, because I still got battles to win. I still have dreams to manifest. Talk about that.
Well, the cool thing about this time in history is that we are almost pushed to change. We have to step into what's coming. People talk about AI taking jobs. AI is not taking jobs, but AI is demanding you get educated or re-educated. That's what it's doing. It's demanding us to step out of the old system of doing things and to adapt, to be resilient, to learn and to discover something new, which is a great thing for folks that are our age and older, is that it gives us an opportunity to begin again and to step into something that we only saw in the Jetsons. So, uh, oh, you're muted. You're muted.
So if you're in your 30s, y'all don't know about the Jetsons, Google it. Go on YouTube. I'm sure there's some episodes on YouTube, but you are so right. You are so right. Oh my gosh. It's exciting. It's nerve wracking on one hand, but exciting on the other.
Exactly, exactly. And the thing is that it's causing us to show up in ways that we remember showing up as teenagers on the football team, on the basketball field. It's causing us to increase this journey and the experiences that we have to connect with new people, and believe it or not, have the opportunity to build bridges with a younger generation, because it's knowledge that they have that we need, not just to thrive, but to survive.
Yes,
Each
and
time.
that's why I say we're not starting over from scratch. We're
Yep,
starting over with wisdom. We've got the
exactly.
wisdom of our lived experience. We've got wisdom and common sense enough to reach to the generations behind us as
Mhm.
we're asking them questions, and we're still learning and growing and developing
Yeah,
and thriving, beyond
exactly.
thriving, not just surviving. Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. This is like one of those hold my mule moments, right?
Oh,
This is like you're like, I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I went back and got my certifications, the AI certifications. Because now again, it's a new platform, or a new rock for us to build on. That's really what it is. It's again a new opportunity for us to make a name for ourselves, to participate in progress, in a way that we in many cases couldn't before. Again, looking at history, uh, coming out of the 80s, it was
Yeah.
tough. And I was
Yeah.
talking to my son this morning. He was telling me about this show that's based in the 80s drug scene, and I'm like, dude, I can't watch that. I'm still dealing with trauma from that. I knew all of those folks. You know?
You want to say that's new to you. We lived through it. That's
Exactly.
new.
Exactly. And I was a little disappointed, because I felt like, that they were glorifying the stuff
Right.
that killed my community.
That
No.
destroyed communities.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And but
Exactly.
again, they don't understand that. But like you're saying, we got the t-shirt. We got the wounds, the scars. I can I can show you, better than I can tell you. So yeah. Uh,
But I appreciate the fact that you went to a counselor, because that's another thing that I share with people that I work with and I encounter, is that it's important to get the help that we need,
oh, absolutely.
whatever the help is, whatever the tools are, so that we can make this next chapter of our journey amazing, whether that's a counselor, a therapist, books, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Friend groups, support groups.
Hmm.
So, and so then after you rebuilt, after you get through the pandemic, and you now find out with the anxiety, and you're not giving up, because you're still a winner. You still
Yeah.
have more work to do. You're not done living. You're not sitting over in a corner doing nothing.
Exactly. And that's the thing. We have to be an expectation for it to look different. That's really the key. This moment in our life is going to look different than what every other moment looked like. Again, us going to school, back when we went to school, we were trained to take a job in a factory. Today, people are trained to live behind a computer screen, and
Yes.
different. So you still have to put in the work. It just looks different, and
Yes.
be an expectation of that. Be willing to change. Be willing to new ways of thinking about things and thinking about opportunities, and allow those things to begin to uh, change the excuse me, the method that you move forward in as well. I want one of the issues that I believe people are dealing with and have dealt with is the methodology that they try to strive for. We know again we think oh we gotta, in order to make money, whereas this what we're seeing now is actually more akin to what we saw in the Bible. Believe it or not,
Hmm.
people were in the Bible. The majority of the people that we run into every care themselves. That's the type of
Yes.
economy that we have right now. This economy favors people that are willing to be contractors,
Yes.
that are willing to something new. This is the time for a new beginning. If you want it, this is the time. And I just want to encourage you because in changing your thinking, your feet will follow.
So I was going to ask you as we wrap up this our time together. I want to mention your book again,
Mhm,
please. That you're currently No More Chains: The Plight of the Talented, and folks can visit your website wisdomworks. WORX.org to see follow you on your book tour,
mhm,
but and to get in touch with you. But I want to close out with this question for you that I
mhm.
let me find it that I want to be sure I ask all my guests. What would you say to someone who is standing where you once stood?
Sovereignty. God gave us the ability to choose who we want to be and what we can accomplish. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, are we willing to take on the challenge and step up? When God gave instruction to, um, uh, well, really to himself, when he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and he will have dominion over the earth, over the fowl of the air, the cattle on the hills, the fish in the sea. We have dominion. The question is, have you yet taken dominion over your life, over your own journey? That's really where I want people to find themselves at that moment. When I say sovereignty, there's at that moment I created in myself or developed what's called a sovereignty mandate,
Mhm.
where God gave me these tools to use. Now, what am I
Mhm.
going to do with them?
Yeah, when you say that, immediately the story that comes to mind is the verses of scripture talking about fishing when they say, "Well, what's in your hand?" When
That's it.
Jesus said, "What's in your hand?"
That's it. That's it.
You already have what you need to get what you
Mhm.
want and what you need. What's in your hand?
Yeah, let me stay with you on that because that is really one of the things that caught me and really helped me because God said to Moses too. Moses was asking, well, how am I going to do this? And he said, well, what do you have in your hand? And he was talking
Yes.
about the rod that he had been using for 40 years to direct these sheep.
You don't even have to
He already
reinvent
had
anything. You don't have to even create anything. You don't have to go looking for it. You've
exactly,
already got it.
exactly,
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
exactly.
you've already got it.
That's
You've
it.
already
That's it.
everything that you need, you already have. And guess what? Just like with Moses, you've been using it your
That's it.
entire life.
Yeah.
That is what has gotten you to this season of your journey, is
Mhm.
that you've already been using it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I could talk to you for hours, Mr. Terrence. This has
Same
been
here.
amazing and encouraging.
Awesome.
And I appreciate sharing stories like yours because I'm a firm believer. I like demonstration, right? I feel
Mhm.
like that's what the Bible is, of course,
Yeah, of course.
is stories that have been written down of historical proof and
Yeah.
evidence,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
of what has been done, what's possible to be done again, and to talk with folks like you is a demonstration of what can be done now in our lifetime. So I appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule to chat with me.
My goodness, I appreciate this. This is such a great moment connecting with you, Dr. Lees. I thank you so much for this opportunity, and I definitely look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Absolutely. I could see, look, when you said that AI piece, I'm getting into it. I went on a whole rampage on social media recently about AI and calling the doctor's office, and how now you don't speak to a person. When you
Yeah.
call, AI is answering the phone and taking
Mhm.
your information and making your appointments. So anyway, we may have to do a separate episode
We
on
can
that.
absolutely do that. Absolutely, yeah. Because the thing is that
Yeah.
that's where we are, and right now. But that is what the future holds for us, and we have to adapt. We have to step into it and live in expectation of it. So even when we run into it, it doesn't surprise us.
Okay, yeah, we may have to do that because
Yeah.
that'll help some of us ease a little bit better into it. Well, you all look in the description. I will put Mr. Howard's information in the description, how to get in touch with him, how to follow his book tour, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of SOAR, starting over after retirement. Thank you.
Awesome blessings.